Hi everyone, for my presentation I wanted to talk about UPnP, which has been enabled by default on routers, and this is causing hackers to be able to use it as a proxy to stay anonymous online. Alright, so what is UPnP? Some of you may have heard of this. If you have an Xbox, UPnP is what your Xbox uses to connect to the internet in order to play online games with somebody else. Xbox just asks the router to open some ports for it to keep it open for inbound and outbound connections so you can connect to them, which sounds good, right? You don't have to do anything. You plug in your Xbox, it launches up, it connects to the internet, you're done. You don't have to configure your router at all, and that was the idea with UPnP. The problem is that UPnP was only supposed to be enabled for the local area network, which means you put your Xbox on the network, give it the Wi-Fi password, and then it connects to the router. What's the problem is that it's now been enabled for wide area network for the internet. So anyone on the internet can connect to your router and pretend it's the Xbox asking for the open ports for it, but really it's just an attacker anywhere in the world kind of gaining access to your router. And then they can use those ports to connect to anywhere else in the internet, whatever they want. Basically using your router as a jumping off point, as a proxy to go to anywhere in the world. They could use that to attack other computers, do malicious activity, and then by hiding behind that are a few different proxies they could kind of anonymize their location and their IP address. Is there a solution? Unfortunately, not really. So router manufacturers have enabled UPnP over the wide area network by default on lots of older routers, I think since 2007 or so, maybe even earlier. I'm not positive on that date. But they've been doing it for a long time. And there are thousands, right now, thousands of routers out there that have UPnP enabled by default over wide area network, over WAN, and are connected to the internet. And basically, router manufacturers are saying it's up to you guys to fix this, up to the end user to fix it. Go ahead and configure your router, which we know most end users are not going to do that. If their internet's working, they don't care. But basically, this allows attackers to use this as a tool to anonymize themselves and to maybe even start probing your network and seeing what's there and trying to connect to your computer or server, what have you. If you want to see for yourself, see if your router has this enabled, go to this grc.com. They have this tool called Shields Up, and it just probes your router and see if UPnP is enabled by default. If it is, it'll let you know, and it'll say, please go fix this. For those you like to do that, go ahead and do that. GRC is a great website, and most of this information actually came from them, from their podcast Security Now, with Steve Gibson. He's the guy that makes that podcast every week. That's it for my presentation, and go check your router, please.